A hug is never just a hug. And if you've ever walked away from one wondering, did that mean something? Or am I overthinking it? You're not crazy. Most men lose momentum with women after the hug, not before it. They either pull away too fast, or they stay too stiff, or they turn a moment of connection into awkward silence. And therefore, what could have turned into desire fades. But here's the truth. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do after a hug. So, she keeps thinking about you long after you part ways without saying anything risky, without forcing attraction, and without killing the moment. And once you understand this, you'll never experience a hug the same way again. Why is this such a powerful moment that almost no one talks about? Because attraction doesn't grow in the obvious places. It doesn't grow in loud jokes or rehearsed lines or dramatic gestures. It grows in the quiet in-between moments. The pause after laughter, the slow walk to the car, the seconds after a hug when neither of you quite knows what to do next. That's where truth shows up. That's where emotional signals become visible, and most men miss it, not because they're incapable, but because they're thinking instead of feeling. They're asking themselves, what should I do next? Instead of asking, what is happening right now? And I want you to really sit with this for a second. Because if you've ever felt like things were going well with a woman and then suddenly something just faded, like the energy dropped for no clear reason, there's a very high chance it happened in one of these quiet transitions. Not during the date, not during the conversation, but right after the moment that could have created something deeper. So I want to ask you, have you ever hugged someone and then immediately felt like you lost the connection right after? Tell me in the comments. I read them, and I want to understand what you've experienced. Because once you see this pattern clearly, you can change it completely. I'm Mary Smith, host of Senior Mindful Living YouTube channel. And what I'm going to share with you today isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about emotional awareness. It's about understanding how connection actually works beneath the surface, especially from a woman's perspective, because what feels small to you often feels significant to her. Let's start with something simple that gets misunderstood all the time. The first type of hug most men experience is what I call the friendly pat hug. It's quick, light, polite. There's usually a small tap on the back, maybe a little distance between your bodies, and it ends almost as soon as it begins. And here's where a lot of men make a quiet but important mistake. They interpret this as rejection. They think, that's it, she's not interested. But that's not what this hug actually means. It means she feels safe. And that might not sound exciting, but psychologically, it's everything. Research in human connection consistently shows that emotional safety is the foundation of attraction. Without it, nothing else develops. A woman doesn't move toward desire if she feels uncertain, tense, or unsure about your energy. Safety comes first, always. So when you get a friendly hug, you're not being pushed away. You're being allowed in, just not deeply yet. Now here's where the moment either grows or quietly dies. What you do after that hug matters more than the hug itself. Most men rush. They step back quickly, break eye contact, and start talking just to fill the silence. It's almost like they're trying to escape the moment instead of staying in it. And when that happens, the emotional thread snaps. Instead, I want you to try something different. Something very small, but incredibly powerful. After the hug ends, pause, just for half a second longer than feels natural. Hold eye contact, relax your shoulders, and give a calm, slow smile. Not exaggerated, not nervous, just present. That tiny moment communicates something deeper than words ever could. It says, I'm comfortable here. I'm not rushing away. I can hold this space. And when a woman feels that kind of grounded presence, something shifts internally. She relaxes. She becomes more open. Because you're not pushing. You're not chasing. You're simply there. Let me give you a real-life example. I once worked with a client who kept saying the same thing over and over. Every date goes well, but nothing ever turns into a second date. And when we broke down his interactions, we found the exact moment where things were slipping. Right after the goodbye hug. He would hug, then immediately step back, look down, and say something like, okay, cool, see you. No emotional continuation, no presence, just an abrupt ending. So I told him to change one thing, just one. Pause after the hug, look into her eyes, smile slowly, and say something simple like, I had a really good time with you. That's it. No pressure, no performance, just grounded honesty. Within 2 weeks, his results completely changed. Not because he became more attractive overnight, but because he stopped breaking the emotional flow. Now let's move into the second type of hug, because this is where things start to feel different. The firm hug. This one has weight. Her arms wrap around you with intention. There's real contact. It doesn't feel rushed or mechanical. It feels present. And interestingly, this is where many men start to panic internally, because now it feels like something might be happening. And the mind jumps in. Is this a sign? Am I reading too much into this? Should I do something? And interestingly, this is where many men start to panic internally, because now it feels like something might be happening, and the mind jumps in. Is this a sign? Am I reading too much into this? Should I do something? Here's what you need to understand. When a woman gives a firm hug, she's testing emotional comfort. Not consciously, but instinctively. She's seeing if you can match her energy without collapsing into nervousness or jumping into intensity. So instead of pulling away quickly, stay. Match her energy and add just one calm second. Not tighter, not stronger, just present. That extra second matters more than you think, because it shows emotional steadiness. And emotional steadiness is deeply attractive because it feels safe and strong at the same time. Then, when you do pull back, don't immediately create distance. Stay in that shared space for a moment and observe. Does she stay facing you? Does she smile? Does she linger just slightly? Those are your signals. And this is where you gently deepen the connection, not with something dramatic, but with something real. Say something like, being around you feels easy. It creates alignment. It builds trust. It makes them feel seen. But now we're about to step into the type of hug where timing becomes everything, and where most men unintentionally sabotage themselves. It creates alignment. It builds trust. It makes them feel seen. But now we're about to step into the type of hug where timing becomes everything, and where most men unintentionally sabotage themselves. The third type of hug is the lingering hug, and this is where the energy shifts in a quiet but powerful way. This hug doesn't announce itself. There's no obvious signal. It simply lasts a little longer than expected. Neither of you pulls away immediately. Her body softens, her breathing slows, there's a subtle stillness that settles in. And that stillness is not empty. It's full of possibility, full of emotional presence. But here's the problem. Most men don't trust it. The moment it starts to feel meaningful, they panic internally. What if I'm misreading this? What if I stay too long? What if this gets awkward? So they pull away too fast. And in doing that, they unintentionally communicate discomfort, not rejection, not disinterest, just unease. And that breaks the emotional rhythm. Instead, I want you to think of this moment differently. When a hug lingers, it means she's comfortable enough to not rush away. That's significant. So your job is not to escalate, it's not to impress, it's simply to stay grounded. Match her stillness, stay relaxed in your body, and just before you release, add one subtle action, a gentle, slow squeeze on her back. Not tight, not forceful, just intentional. That small gesture communicates something very specific on a psychological level. It signals confidence without words. It says, I'm here, I'm aware, I'm not rushing. And that combination, awareness plus calm confidence, is incredibly powerful because it creates emotional safety while also introducing a hint of depth. Now let's talk about something that almost no one pays attention to, but it's actually one of the most important parts. The first 10 seconds after the hug ends. This is where the emotional tone either continues or collapses. Most men make the same mistake here. They switch modes. They go from emotional presence to logical conversation instantly. They say things like, text me when you get home, or, all right, I'll talk to you later, in a flat, disconnected tone. And what happens? The feeling disappears. It's like turning off a light. But if you want to create a lasting impression, you have to extend the emotional state just a little longer. Here's how you do it. Lower your voice slightly, slow down your speech, and say something that keeps the moment grounded. Moments like this make the day better. Or, I like how calm things feel around you. These statements don't ask for anything. They don't pressure, they don't push, they simply frame the experience. And framing is powerful because it tells the brain, this moment matters. And when the brain labels something as meaningful, it remembers it. Now we move into the fourth type of hug. And this is where emotional closeness becomes undeniable. The intimate embrace. This hug feels different immediately. She leans in fully. Her head may rest near your shoulder or your neck. Her arms hold you with intention. Sometimes her hand moves slowly across your back. There's warmth here. There's trust. And this is where many men get it wrong. Not because they didn't feel it, but because they don't know how to handle it. They either freeze or they rush. They get overwhelmed by the intensity. But what she's actually looking for in this moment is not escalation. She's looking for emotional steadiness. Can you stay calm in closeness? Can you hold the moment without trying to control it? Because if you can, something very powerful happens. Her nervous system relaxes even more. And when that happens, emotional connection deepens into something that feels safe and exciting at the same time. So here's what I want you to do. Don't rush. Let the silence exist. Let the moment breathe. And just before you release, quietly say her name. Nothing else, just her name. There's something deeply personal about hearing your name spoken softly in a close moment. It activates attention. It creates emotional imprinting. It makes the interaction feel unique, not generic. And that's what stays with her. But here's the deeper truth behind all of this. It's not the hug itself that creates desire. It's the emotional contrast. Most of the world feels rushed, loud, distracted. People are constantly pulling away, checking phones, thinking about the next thing. So when someone creates a moment that feels calm, present, grounded, it stands out. It feels rare. And women remember how they feel around you far more than what you say. That's why trying too hard never works. That's why forcing attraction backfires. Presence works. Calm confidence works. And knowing when to do nothing works best of all. But in leaving something unfinished. So after a meaningful hug, especially one that had emotional depth, don't drag the moment out too long. End it while the feeling is still warm. Look at her. Hold eye contact for just a second longer. Let your expression stay relaxed and genuine, from creating just enough connection, and then allowing space for anticipation. So after a meaningful hug, don't stretch the moment too long. End it while it still feels good. Look at her, hold eye contact, smile, and say, "We'll finish this conversation next time." That line does something subtle but powerful. It creates a loop. It tells her the story isn't over, and the human mind naturally wants closure. So what happens? She thinks about you. She replays the moment. She wonders what comes next. And that's where attraction quietly grows. So the next time you hug her, don't treat it as something small. Read the energy, match it. Stay present. Let the moment breathe. Because a hug is never just physical, it's emotional information. And once you learn how to understand it and respond to it with calm awareness, everything changes. The third type of hug is the lingering hug. And this is where the energy shifts in a quiet but powerful way. This hug doesn't announce itself. There's no dramatic signal, no obvious cue. It simply lasts a little longer than expected. Her arms don't immediately release. Her body softens instead of pulling away. There's a subtle stillness, a shared pause where neither of you rushes to break the moment. And that pause, that's where emotional connection lives. But here's where most men get in their own way. The second they feel that deeper moment forming, their mind jumps in. What if I'm reading too much into this? What if this gets awkward? What should I do next? And just like that, instead of experiencing the moment, they try to control it. So they pull away too quickly. And when that happens, the message she feels, even if you didn't intend it, is simple. He got uncomfortable. Not that you rejected her, not that you did something wrong, just that you couldn't stay in that moment. And emotional discomfort breaks attraction faster than almost anything else. So here's what I want you to do instead. When the hug lingers, let it. Stay grounded in your body. Feel your feet. Relax your shoulders. Don't tighten up. Don't overthink it. Don't try to escalate it. Just match her stillness. And right before you release, add one small, intentional action, a gentle squeeze on her back, slow, calm, present, not aggressive, not lingering too long, not trying to do something. Just a subtle signal that you're aware and comfortable. That one small action communicates confidence in a way words never could. It tells her, I'm here, I feel this, and I'm not rushing away from it. And that's what creates emotional safety with a hint of depth. Now let's talk about something that is even more important than the hug itself, and almost no one pays attention to it. What happens in the first 10 seconds after the hug ends? This is the moment where connection either continues or quietly disappears. Most men make the same mistake here. They switch modes instantly. They go from emotional presence to logical thinking. They start talking about logistics, plans, or random filler just to avoid silence. And in doing that, they break the emotional tone that was just created. Think about it like music. You don't cut a song off right at its peak, you let it fade naturally. You let the feeling linger. That's exactly what you need to do here. After the hug ends, don't rush into words. Let there be a breath of space. Then, when you speak, lower your voice slightly. Slow your pace. Keep your tone calm and grounded. Say something simple, but emotionally aligned with the moment. Moments like this make the day better. Or, I like how calm things feel around you. Do you notice what these sentences do? They don't ask for anything. They don't create pressure. They don't try to impress. They simply acknowledge the feeling that already exists. And when you name a feeling without forcing it, it becomes real in her mind. It becomes something she remembers. Now let's move into the fourth type of hug, because this is where emotional closeness becomes unmistakable. The intimate embrace. You'll feel the difference immediately. She leans in fully. Her body relaxes into yours. Her head may rest near your shoulder or your neck. Her arms don't just wrap, they hold. Sometimes her hand moves slowly along your back, almost unconsciously. This hug isn't accidental. It's not polite. It's not neutral. It's connection. And in this moment, you're being tested in a very subtle way. Not tested in what you say, not tested in what you do, but in how you handle closeness. Because when a man becomes tense, rushes away, or suddenly changes energy here, it creates a disconnect. It makes the moment feel unsafe or unstable. But when a man stays calm, when he doesn't rush, when he allows the silence to exist, something powerful happens. Her body relaxes even more. Her mind quiets. And the connection deepens without effort. So here's what I want you to do. Stay present. Let the hug exist without trying to turn it into something else. And just before you release, softly say her name. Nothing more. Just her name. There's a reason this works so deeply. Hearing your name in a calm, close moment activates emotional awareness. It makes the interaction feel personal, intentional, and real. It shifts the experience from a nice moment to a moment with you. And that distinction matters more than you think. But here's the part most men never fully understand. What makes her think about you later doesn't happen while you're with her. It happens after you're gone. Because attraction isn't built on constant presence. It's built on emotional imprint. And emotional imprint comes from contrast. Most of her day is filled with noise, stress, distractions, people talking over each other, rushing from one thing to another. So when she experiences a moment with you that feels calm, grounded, unforced, it stands out. It feels different. And her mind holds on to it. Not because you tried to impress her, but because you made her feel something she doesn't feel often. That's why forcing attraction never works. That's why over-talking, over-explaining, or over-performing always backfires. Presence works. Calm confidence works. And knowing when to stop is what creates desire. Which brings us to the final piece. If you want her to want to see you again, you have to understand this one truth. Desire grows in space, not in constant access, not in giving everything away in one moment, but in leaving something unfinished. So after a meaningful hug, especially one that had emotional depth, don't drag the moment out too long. End it while the feeling is still warm. Look at her. Hold eye contact for just a second longer. Let your expression stay relaxed and genuine. Nothing more, just her name. There's a reason this works so deeply. Hearing your name in a calm, close moment activates emotional awareness. It makes the interaction feel personal, intentional, and real. It shifts the experience from a nice moment to a moment with you, and then say, "We'll finish this conversation next time." That one sentence does something incredibly powerful. It creates curiosity. It tells her there's more to discover. It leaves the story open, and the human mind naturally wants closure. So what happens? She thinks about you later. Match it without rushing or forcing. Stay present just a little longer than most people would. Because in a world where everyone is distracted and disconnected, the person who can stay calm, grounded, and emotionally aware is the one who gets remembered. If this changed the way you see these moments, take a second to like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And I'd really like to know what part of this stood out to you the most. Was it the pause, the eye contact, the words after the hug? Tell me in the comments, because once you start noticing these small moments, you'll realize they were never small at all.